Hustlers. Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all well. In this video we are going to be reviewing Hustlers, which is an award-winning crime drama heist thriller movie which is based and inspired by the New York Magazine article called Hustlers at Scores, which is where some strippers would be drugging stockbrokers and CEOs and fleecing them of hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is truly shocking. Now this movie has some brilliant performances from its lead actresses, and they also develop all of the characters and the relationships between all of the different characters really well. It's a pretty well-paced movie as well, and like I said, the fact that it's based on a real-life event is really shocking, and I'm going to be breaking it all down for you in this movie review. So from a storyline point of view, we're first introduced to the lead character of Destiny, who is a stripper that is struggling to get by, and she is infatuated by lead stripper Ramona, who agrees to take her under her wing and teach her and help her to make a lot of money. And actually they are pretty successful in doing this as a group and as a duo as well. And then in 2008 the financial crisis happens, which means that wealthy men are stopping going into strip clubs, and so the girls have a new plan, which is to drug a lot of men and to fleece them out of large sums of money. And the film then explores whether or not they are going to be successful in getting away with this, but it also explores loads of other really interesting themes in terms of how far will certain characters go, when is enough, will certain characters have a conscience, can they expand their business in terms of fleecing loads of more people, and when they expand their numbers, can they trust their new recruits, will they be turning on each other, what is the world like for all of these different characters. So those themes are really interesting, but obviously the undercurrent of what they're doing is pretty unforgivable. Now from a positives point of view, this movie, like I said before, has fantastic acting in there, and it also explores what certain characters will do when they are truly desperate. However, from a negatives point of view, I do feel like this movie is glamorizing drugging people and stealing all of their money. So I feel like this movie could have done a better job in terms of showing the consequences of these actions. But you know, that being said, it is based on a real life event, and so from a storyline point of view, it is truly shocking in Hustlers. So from a cast and characters point of view, Hustlers actually has a really great cast, and they're all pretty diverse in this movie as well. So let's go through them one by one. So first up we have Constance Wu, who is playing the lead character of Destiny, and she does a really good job in terms of narrating the movie and really showing a range of different emotions across the film as well. And also this character is the only one to really have a conscience in terms of feeling really bad for the actions of this group. Next up we have Jennifer Lopez, who just does a phenomenal performance in this movie. The opening dance number that she does is just absolutely incredible. She's definitely channeling her brilliant dance abilities on the stage, and is also the main ringleader in terms of the group. She is the one that comes up with the plan in the first place, so she's definitely the brains behind the operation, and she is also really protective of the group as well. Next up we have Keke Palmer and Lili Reinhart, who are also part of the crew along with Destiny and Ramona. And whilst they are part of this foursome in terms of being in a lot of the scenes with them and doing all of the acts with them as well, I just feel like from a character's point of view, they're just not as well developed as the other two are. Next up we have Cardi B, who is really interestingly in this movie, as she was also a stripper and somebody that used to drug guys out of their money as well. So I think it's really interesting that she's in this movie. Next up we have Stiles, who is the reporter and journalist, and she is there in the opening sequence along with the Constance Wu character in terms of explaining to the audience what is happening. And by contrast, whilst Stiles definitely is a great actress, in this movie she is just very one-tone, very one-dimensional, and isn't showing that much range, whereas the Destiny character, who she's often acting against, is showing so much range. So I just feel like they could have done a little bit more with this character. And it is really cool as there are some other big cameo appearances by other celebs in this movie as well. And so from a casting character's point of view, overall, Hustlers is pretty impressive. So from a visuals point of view, the director did a really good job in terms of really making you feel like you're part of the strip club with all of these different characters. You get to see what it's like behind the scenes, in front of all of the cameras on the stage, and from an audience viewer point of view as well, which is really interesting. And also they definitely show the contrast of very rich characters and of very poor characters as well. And it's also really interesting as these characters also are able to flip from being really poor to being really rich. So from a visuals point of view, it is coming across really well in Hustlers. So from a comparison point of view, I think you can put Hustlers into 3 different categories. So the first one is obviously the heist aspect of this movie, which I think you can definitely compare to The Hustle, Ocean's 8, I Care a Lot, and The Kitchen, which is all about fleecing other different characters out of money. I think you can also compare this movie to The Craft Legacy and to Black Christmas, not necessarily from a tone and genre point of view, but from a point of view in terms of female empowerment and all men are evil kind of outlook, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I think you can definitely compare it from an undertones point of view. And then finally, I think you can compare it from a revenge point of view to Promising Young Woman in terms of having a really important topic that is explored in this movie. And so from a comparison point of view, I feel like you can definitely compare Hustlers to quite a lot of other movies out there. So overall, I would say, you know, Hustlers is a good movie to watch. I think it's very shocking the fact that this stuff actually happened in real life and is probably still happening. And I do feel like the movie could have done a little bit more in terms of showing the consequences and just how bad these actions are in terms of drugging people and stealing all of their money. But from a cast and performances point of view, this movie is really, really strong. I also absolutely loved Jennifer Lopez's line at the end of this movie where she said, in this world there will always be the dancers and those that are throwing the money, which I just think is so symbolic to loads of things beyond the stripping industry. And I just think it was a really powerful way to end this movie. And so for all of those reasons, I have to give it a solid 5 out of 10. I'd love to hear what you think, so please let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in my next video.